Animal shelters are in crisis as abandoned pets soar in the cost of living. We're going to read into this more with this exclusive from unnews, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an exclusive from iNews with the headline that animal shelters are in crisis as abandoned pets soar in the cost of living. Rescue shelters are operating at full capacity, having to turn animals away. So obviously, we know that we obviously have a huge situation taking place across the country. We have a cost of living crisis, and of course, when that comes around, obviously people have to look at their money and bills and look at being able to do everything they can to look after themselves. Now, obviously, pets, dogs, cats, they are treated as family. You know, your loved ones, just like you would treat your children. If you are, hopefully, I hope the vast majority of you listening to this are animal lovers like myself, and you wouldn't dare want to abandon them and let them go. However, when there are sometimes desperate situations where you are really struggling to pay for things, the simplest of basic of needs of such as dog food or cat food, because it is cost to buy that food, and you're struggling just to feed yourselves. Sometimes you end up making a desperate situation, and that is having to give up your animals, and it's heartbreaking when you have to do that, especially when people are already struggling to make ends meet. We already know that we have a crisis in the NHS, crisis in schools, crisis with homelessness. There's so many crises, and animals are suffering as a result as well. They're being impacted by this, and as you can read from this, it's already operating at full capacity. So unfortunately, there are many animals out there who, at this time in this coldest of time during Christmas, are going to suffer as a result of this. And taking them to these shelters and then being turned away, it makes you wonder, well, what do they do next? Because nobody wants to dump their animals somewhere, or dump dogs or cats. I know there are some people who are sick and cold to do that, but nobody wants to do that. No good person wants to do that. They really do care about the well-being of animals, and I hope that you guys do too. Of course, we need to look after human beings, of course, but we shouldn't ignore the damage that this has been done to animals up and down the country as well, and I think that's a really important thing to talk about. I'm not looking forward to this, guys. So rescue shelters are operating at full capacity, having to turn animals away as the cost of living crisis fuels a staggering rise in pets abandonments across the UK. The RSPCA has warned of a winter crisis over the coming months as pet owners facing economic hardships are offloading animals at unmanageable levels, stretching welfare services to their limits. Woodgreen Pets charity, which runs one of Europe's largest rehoming centres in Cambridgeshire, has seen a 48% increase in stray dogs being handed in this year, raising fears that it will soon reach breaking point. 48%, guys. 48. That's almost 48. Think about that percentage there. Yeah, it's not like a 5% increase or a 10% increase. 48 this year, just this year alone, just shows just how hard it is for people out there to make ends meet. The desperation that people have, and are having to give up their loved animals because they can't afford to make basic ends meet out there. It's heartbreaking. Remember, some people, you need to understand that pets are family members too, and some people are giving up their family members just to be able to survive. It's important to make that point. Linda Cantle, Director of Operations at Woodgreen, told the Eye, all of our kennels, cat units and accommodations for small pets are full, and we have long lists of pets waiting to come into our care. Pets that aren't in urgent need might be waiting upwards of 6 months for a space to become available, as we have to prioritise those pets and people who need us most, and to be sure not to compromise the welfare of pets that we have on site. Yeah, of course. Channel 4 documentary series The Doghouse has shone a light on Woodgreen's work since 2019, following staff at the Manchester base in their efforts to match homeless dogs with prospective new owners. The 43-acre site can accommodate 72 dogs, 123 cats and more than 200 small animals at full capacity, which has already been reached. Mrs. Cantle said, this year there's been a staggering 48% increase in the number of stray dogs and a 25% increase across all of the species we work with. These animals are homeless, extremely vulnerable, and often with excessive medical and behavioural needs. There is significant demand on the charity surface. We are operating at full capacity and cannot plan for the volume of pets and people who may need our help over the coming months. We anticipate that these figures will continue to increase and are doing everything we can to give every pet and pet owner the support they need. She added there will be a breaking point where we will run out of options, but thankfully we aren't just there yet. Research by the veterinary charity the PDSA, published in May, found that 23% of pet owners said that the cost of living crisis had affected how they cared for their pets. Inflation is currently at 5.6%, down significantly from the 40-year high of 11.1% seen in October 2022. But price increases have been baked into the domestic bills, leaving some households unable to afford the adds of the costs of pet ownership. Exactly my point. See, when you are already struggling to make your own bills, and you know the cost of buying pet food it goes up. Everything else goes up, and so does pet food. So what are you supposed to do? You know, if you can't feed your dog or your cat that you love so much, what are you supposed to do? You don't want to not feed it. And in the end, they have to give it up because they don't want their pet to die. And obviously, the thing that they are hoping is that they give it away with the hopes of getting it back some days when they're able to afford to have the animal back. And it's a heartbreaking thing. To some people, it's like giving up their child. That's what it is. That's how connected people are to their pets. It's really important to emphasise that. Up to the end of October 2023, the RSPCA has received 17,838 reports of abandoned animals across England and Wales. Should this trend continue, the charity would expect to see a 21,417 abandonment calls over 2023, a 32.9% rise on 2020, which saw 16,118 reports. In Wales specifically, abandoned pets have risen by 61% from 997 in 2020 to a projected 16,010 this year. That's incredibly abandonments. Sorry, not dominant. Abandonments. Apologies. Yeah, look at this poor dog. You know, I mean, he's happy there because but this is a young bull breed, not believed to be an XL bully, was tied up outside an RSPCA centre in Newport, Wales. So they basically, because they couldn't take him in, what they did is they took him down there during the night and basically put him out, hung him out, like tied him on a lead or something outside in order to force them to take him in. Allegedly, that's what I'm allegedly thinking they did there in their desperate attempt to unload the animal. On the 5th of December, a young bull breed was tied to a gate outside RSPCA Newport Animal Centre shortly after midnight and abandoned. There you go. The RSPCA inspector Sophie Daniel said, "He has a good temperament and is friendly, but wasn't microchipped. He must have been very frightened and confused being left there in the cold. We know times are tough at the moment and the cost of living is really affecting families who are struggling with their pets and the costs that come with them," she added. "We're desperately concerned about the coming winter months in Wales. Abandonments have soared and many rescue centres are full to bursting, so we are facing an unprecedented winter crisis." To worsen matters, the RSPCA reports that rehoming rates across England and Wales have fallen to just under a third since 2019, making it harder for rescue centres to free up space. Battersea Dogs and Cats Home cares for an average 240 dogs and 145 cats at any one time across all three of its centres in South London, Bedfordshire and Kent. The charity receives over 1,300 inquiries from cat owners wanting to hand over their pets in September, more than twice the amount in the same month last year. Birdie Williams, rehoming and welfare manager at Battersea London Centre, said the increase was being driven by the unneutered cats having early litters. Yeah, well, it costs you to get them neutered as well, so that costs money as well. She told the Eye, although we've seen cats admitted to our centres for a number of different reasons, we do believe that the cost of living is a significant factor in why we are seeing a rise in the number of unneutered kittens coming in with younger kittens. Kittens. We also know that during the pandemic, cats are less likely to be neutered due to the limited access to veterinary care during this period, so the after effects of this may also be a contributing factor as well. I think that's a very good point there as well. The pandemic, obviously, you need to take that into account, guys. I think that's really important. But something there that's just come up that I just realised as well when we're talking about pets here is the costs of the cost it takes you to do a checkup for your pet, the cost when your cat is sick and unwell and taking them to the vets. It costs a lot of money for these checks and for treatments and whatnot. These cost a significant amount of money to do that. It's like private healthcare, but for veterinarian, for vets. And yes, some of you may have pet insurance, but of course, pet insurance costs again money. So, and if you can't afford that, again, you know, another thing that hampers in the way of people being able to look after their pet. So all these things are adding up to people when it comes to looking after their animals. And unfortunately, many pets are going to be abandoned, dumped in places because they can't be looked after and they can't afford it. And the Conservative Party have refused to deal with this cost of living crisis and continuously talking about immigration. And just like many people this Christmas, many pets are going to die as a result of actions and political decisions made by this current government. And that's on them, which is why more important than ever we've got to remember that the next general election that we kick these lot out of power for the damage, the untold damage that they have done, because there's going to be far more damage that we don't know about. So what do you guys make of this story? Do you have any pets of your own? Have any of you had to do the heartbreak decision of giving up your animal? And if you so, my deepest sympathies if you've had to do so. Or maybe you have a nice heartwarming story about some of your pets that you have, or the life that you have with them would be nice to share in the comment section down below. What can be done? What can the RSPCA do? What more can pet charities do when people are already struggling to make ends meet, struggling to pay their bills, struggling to pay for the food for their animals, struggling to pay for their treatments? All these ideas. What ideas can you guys throw at me that maybe might make a difference? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by buying me a coffee or join me on Patreon. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.